Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. Right, today we have a treat for you. I'm going to spoil the ending, so it's like flipping to the end of the book to see who done it. We win a Caldari state battle, and we wanted to bring you this video. This was actually mostly Evo 7. He really was quite fanatical about winning one, so we went for it. And I'll explain to you perhaps some of the observations, learnings, and thoughts, I guess, that come with it. And the first one is an obvious one: is that FW battles, because you've got to win to get your luscious, lovely loyalty points. You play it very differently, and it took me a while to understand this. And it only was when I started to play a few Caldari ones that I realised what the other team were doing. And it is quite clever. Well, it's annoying but clever in that you avoid the fight. You actually don't engage. What you do is you look for the migrating herd of troops and blueberries walking around, just going to the next objective to try and shoot something. And you pretty much take you avoid them. You actually just create a zone where you can just keep spawning in and killing and capturing points. So that's pretty much what you do. Now I'm gonna just say something here. I run away from this tank here because another tank's reported, and I'm on my own. So I'm running. Not I'm enough of a man to admit that I'm fleeing like a little girl. But I think at this point as well, I was pretty drunk, I must admit. It was, I mean, this is Christmas, right? And like, I don't know how people are even playing this game, because yesterday I was pretty much so smashed I had to stop playing and go lie down. So not the best tanking for me today. But again, continuing our theme, I mean, the FWs are tough, and I think particularly with Amar and Caldari, they're very tough. And I think you just have to kind of accept that it's going to be a bit crappy. But I would probably suggest that people play it in a different way, and I think certainly this is maybe the big revelation for me, certainly from doing FW, is people play very differently. It's not actually about fighting and dominating. It's actually about sneaking and capturing. And I think what you see a lot of is zone marking now. So we did this a little bit with the tanks. Oh, actually, before I carry on, interesting, this is a bug. Look at my thing go completely nuts here. I have no idea what's going on. My whole system just locked and I couldn't move. As you can see, I can move my mouse, but my keys weren't working. Something just went completely wrong there, and as always a tank appeared. But you gotta laugh, and otherwise you cry. But yeah, there's a few sort of, I don't know if people have had this with mouse and keyboard, a few little weird control bugs. Every so often the mouse and keyboard does spaz out and you have to unplug it and replug it in, but this was different. This was, keys were kind of working and not. It was just like mass spamming keys. It's definitely a new one for me. Anyway, I digress. As I think FW goes, it's really funny because a lot of the time what you're finding is small little groups of people are marking. So, for example, C. C is the closest objective to our spawn, and you've got a group of 3 dudes who have got spawn pads, logistics, and they are just running around capturing C when no one's there, or when there's very few people there. And that's, I mean, it's a very high level of coordination, and I'm very, very respectful of that. And I think just generally, it's been quite impressive seeing how I think a lot of people play this. And I think, at the moment, obviously we are pretty much losing, but what we were doing is we were pretty much we were drawing, firstly, as many people as we could to A. So we were always hacking A. And we had John McGeechee, he was off capturing B, so B was his concern. My concern was actually A as well, but as you can see, I just completely fluffed it all up again. I'm just not a good tanker, I admit that. But I have fun doing it, so, like the special needs child at school, it's all fun, he's there just to enjoy it. Oh my god, did I just say that? I'm going to get fucking flamed for that, I'm sure I am, but I'm joking, jeez, I'm joking. And do you know what? It's funny, really, as I start to kind of, push this channel as much as I can. It's amazing how many people I'm pissing off. So I guess I should just offer a reserved apology to everybody. I don't mean to piss people off. I troll people, but at the end of the day, people don't get trolls nowadays. I think the younger generation just do not get it. Anyway, so as FW goes, it really is a funny, different fight. I mean, I always got quite frustrated when I was running around thinking, well, come on, fight me. And you could see them spawning in the distance, and you'd be like, well, why aren't they coming at us? And it was because they'd wait for an orbital such as this, or they'd wait for literally the blues defending the objective to bugger off to the next one to go for, and then they'd swoop in and hack it. So try and play FW with that style. Doesn't matter who you play for, because I think a lot of people have figured this out. But I think stop playing it where you just think, right, what's the next one to go for? Okay, well, C or D. Let's go for C or D. Right, let's go. Run. Just actually say to yourself, do you know what? We've got A and B. I'm going to defend A. And just do everything you can to defend it, setting up spawn pads far off, setting up, sort of sneaky, sniper points, whatever it may be. And this seems to be the way to win FWs. And that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm maybe wrong. Post in the comments. Tell me what you think works, because obviously when we've played skirmish in normal pub matches, it doesn't really feel like people defend anything. It feels like people attack all the time. I could be wrong, but it did always feel that was how we played it. So FW's an entirely different beast now. You have to accept that defense is probably the biggest thing you've got, because if you can capture 2 points and continually keep the 2 points and fight over the third and fourth, you're going to win. Statistically, you're going to win. So definitely look into that, because that is what we were doing here. Is we were just trying to keep 2 objectives always under our control, and then putting a third on, under attack. We were also running a bit of a kind of scouts game. So this is why I think scouts are kind of back. They're still, very weak, but scouts do feel to be kind of back, because you can actually now run and capture stuff solo using a scanner to see if anyone's there, etc, etc. So I seriously think it's definitely back as a tactic that you can employ. But having spawn pads probably wins you FWs as well. I think far too many times you see, particularly with Caldari and Amar, you don't see people deploying spawn pads. So in essence, the blueberries have got nowhere to spawn, and nobody can be asked to run. So if you don't drop spawn pads ad nauseum like I'm doing here, yes, they'll be killed. One flux grenade will probably take most of them out, but it's more just about, until that flux grenade arrives, that's a spawn point for a lot of people. Tanks are also quite a big deal as well. We just, we could have taken these 2 tankers out. They were good tankers. They knew what they were doing, but I wouldn't say they were the best. And I think it was just at the point where, if you focus on the tank, you're going to lose the match. And at the end of the day, they had 2 or 3 tankers who were actually achieving nothing. Okay, yes, they were helping some of the hacks. As you can see, A, C, and D are now at risk. But remember, sometimes it's very easy to hack a point, but then move away from it and then lose it as soon as it's gone. And that's exactly what happened here. Was that the whole of the Galante team didn't seem to be defending very well. So any moment now, you'll see C go, you'll also see A, and in a moment, I'm running for D. And I'm kind of doing what I was saying in terms of being a bit of a lone wolf scout is actually definitely worth doing, because with a scanner and a rail rifle, you've got a fair bit of range. I think if you're fast, you can also run the hell away. So if stuff kind of goes south, you could just leg it. And I think certainly this is definitely the way to win FWs. And we, as I say, we got into a Caldari game where there were, I believe, 2 organised squads certainly against us, maybe even more, but they weren't full squads. And we had our group, and I believe no other squads. Everybody was kind of random, so it wasn't kind of the easiest match to kind of go for. But I think the tanks on their side and on our side fought a good game, but I don't think they added really anything to this. I think the infantry won this particular game, and as you can see, look at this guy defending. That's unheard of. I've got to admit. And yes, I'm throwing AV grenades. I'm drunk. Get over it. I was quite surprised to see people defending. To me, it's a whole new thing. It's very unusual. But that certainly seems to be the way to go. So obviously, my capturing of D here swings this massively in our favour, and it gives them quite a tall order to defend from this point. You could almost say it's a done deal at this point. And then I do a very boring thing where I actually now do defend D. I think to myself, right, well, if that's what they're doing, that's what I'll do as well. And I just literally sit here scanning and waiting for the hack to go. And to be honest, this does seem to be the way to win FWs. Okay, so in conclusion, that's kind of it. Just a quick other topic very quickly while we wait for this D to hack. Is, I guess, I don't know if you've been watching the forums lately. There's a lot of kind of, just if you've watched the forums from any point over the last year, there's been just a massive amount of whinging and moaning about nerfing and this and that. And I was just sort of interested really in terms of, it's funny because I did a bit of I'm going to do a video on it, and I did like a copy paste of like the top 3 pages on the forum general discussion. And I marked each one as which was a nerf post, and a good 75% of every post, of every thread on there was, nerf this, this is OP, that's OP, this is broken, this needs a buff. And it's fascinating really, and I'm kind of curious to see what people think, so post in the comments. But I don't recall Eve ever being like this. Yes, you had a few things that were really powerful, like drakes, but people just went and used them. I don't, it's almost as if people would just say, "No, I run a mile, that's it." And don't get me wrong, you had to skill into these things, and it took time. But I'm just surprised that people are so, I guess, negative towards this kind of thing. So I'm kind of curious what people think about the forums. Is it any good? Do people read it for anything other than just QQing about God knows what? So there we go, a Caldari state victory, and it was a hard-fought one, a huge amount of loss as well. But these things are not particularly friendly, and I think unfortunately bandwagons will always exist in these games, and I think it's just something you have to deal with, unfortunately. But having said that, it was fun. It was a good match. It was a challenging match, and I think that's probably why I would want to run Caldari a bit more. Is that it is actually maybe a bit more of a fight. Too many times you just redline. Every Mimitar battle we fight now is a red line from the get-go, and that's a bit boring, really. I think I'd rather have a bit of a standard fight than not. So, let's see where they go. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I mean, again, just check out squadb.com. We've got loads of Dust articles on there. We're trying to do kind of a lot more. You'll see quite a few more coming over the next few days, obviously for Christmas. Just go and have a look, see what you like. And if you're really, really interested in something, post in the comments and let's start a discussion. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.